Battle will activate. When Mu Chen's low shout echoed through the dark expanse, a thunderous roar erupted from behind him. The 5 armies all followed suit, their voices merging into a mighty storm of battle will that swept across the heavens and earth. Boom. 5 distinct and overwhelming forces of battle will, each with a different attribute, filled the air above the 5 armies. The air seemed to vibrate with countless roars emanating from them, and the sheer violence of the energy caused the very space around them to ripple. Although the 5 battle wills spread out, they remained distinct from one another, showing no sign of merging, even though there was no hostility between them. After all, these were not the same kind of power, not by any means. Inside these battle wills were the wills of tens of thousands of soldiers from each of the 5 armies. With such a vast number of wills, if a strong mental force did not control them, they would never be able to merge together. Among these 5 overwhelming battle wills, the 9 Nether Guard and Blood Shadow Band had already formed their battle spirit guardians, since Mu Chen had always had control over these 2 battle wills. As for the other 3 armies, their battle wills were still just swirling and roaring, with no sign of forming their own battle spirit guardians. At this point, if the battle spirit guardians couldn't be formed, the 3 armies would be of little help to Mu Chen. Thus, he had to refine and control all 5 battle spirit guardians at once. Only then would he be able to stand a chance against the battle spirit guardian of the Black Tortoise formation. Taking a deep breath of the cold air, Mu Chen's face was serious. He knew very well how difficult it would be to refine and control 5 battle spirit guardians at the same time. The challenge was far greater than what Zhantai Luli had faced when controlling 30,000 Liuli army soldiers. With a light push from his toes, Mu Chen's figure shot backward, appearing directly above the 3 armies of the mountain-splitting legion. Beneath him, the vast battle will formed by the 3 armies was surging like a torrential flood. Mu Chen closed his eyes slightly, his mental force sweeping outward, then immediately charging into the colossal battle well above the 3 armies. Boom, boom. As Mu Chen's mental force entered, a deafening roar reverberated through the air. The roar contained the wills of thousands of soldiers, enough to make one's mind feel as if it would shatter and scatter into nothingness. However, Mu Chen had already experienced this when he refined the battle spirit guardians for the mountain-splitting legion and the others. So, instead of panicking, he abandoned all resistance, allowing his mental force to quickly merge with the vast battle will of the 3 armies. As Mu Chen's mental force blended in, the 3 massive battle wills began to stir, as though they had gained sentience. They rapidly began to condense, though the process was slow, and the battle spirit guardians had not yet fully formed, only showing vague outlines. A bead of sweat slid down Mu Chen's face. His palms clenched tightly, and there was a trace of difficulty in his expression. The process of refining battle spirit guardians was certainly not easy, especially considering he was attempting to manage 5 at once. Even with his deep understanding of battle will, this was far from an easy task. Moreover, as he focused on refining the battle spirit guardians for the other 3 armies, the Black Tortoise battle spirit was not waiting idly. Instead, it continued to press its attack, causing the battle spirit guardians of the 9 Nether Guard and Blood Eagle Guard to retreat constantly. The battle marks on their bodies were growing fainter. Outside the formation, the 9 Nether and Mountain Splitting King watched anxiously, their faces full of tension. They understood that if Mu Chen couldn't refine the 5 battle spirit guardians, there was no way he could defeat the Black Tortoise battle spirit. Boom, boom. Under the watchful eyes of countless onlookers, the battle will above the 3 armies continued to churn. It seemed as though the battle spirits were struggling to take shape, but the process was extremely slow. Mu Chen should be able to do it, but it will take some time. Hopefully, the battle spirit guardians of the 9 Nether Guard and Blood Eagle Guard can temporarily hold off the Black Tortoise battle spirit's assault, the 9 Nether Guard thought, feeling a slight relief. However, their hearts were still tight with worry. They could see that the battle spirit guardians of the 9 Nether Guard and Blood Eagle Guard were being pushed back step by step. Drip, drip. Sweat continued to pour down Mu Chen's face. However, in such a critical moment, Mu Chen's heart actually grew calmer, for he knew that in situations like this, the more flustered one became, the closer they were to failure. Almost there. Mu Chen murmured softly. Boom. Another violent beam of battle will struck the defensive formation formed by the 9 Nether Guard and Blood Eagle Guard battle spirits. Immediately, many soldiers from both sides coughed up blood. Roar. The Black Tortoise battle spirit let out a fierce roar, its menacing eyes locking onto Mu Chen as if it sensed something. Suddenly, the massive serpent tail behind it opened its mouth, and in the next instant, a jet-black streak of battle will shot through the air like a spear, threading through the gap in the defenses of the 9 Nether Guard and Blood Eagle Guard battle spirits, locking onto Mu Chen. Seeing this, the 9 Nether and Mountain Splitting King were visibly shaken. Boom. The black streak of battle will swept through, but just as it was about to strike Mu Chen's body, the battle will ocean above the Mountain Splitting Legion's 3 armies trembled violently. Then, the battle will erupted, and 3 massive battle spirits condensed almost simultaneously. Above the mighty battle will ocean surrounding the spirit sword servant, a giant battle spirit holding a sword swung it down furiously, like a shield, protecting Mu Chen from the incoming battle will streak. Bang! The wave of battle will spread out as the giant sword was knocked back, but Mu Chen seized this brief moment of interruption to shoot into the sky and appeared above the 5 armies. He stood in midair. Beneath him 5 colossal battle spirits materialized in the battle will ocean. Waves of intense battle will radiated outward, causing the very space to tremble. The appearance of these 5 battle spirits was nothing short of shocking. Beyond the formation, various forces watched in stunned silence. Lu Yin from the Xintian Palace and Fang Yi from the Divine Hall both wore grim expressions, their shock barely concealed. He really did manage to condense them all at once. Mountain Splitting King breathed a sigh of relief, then clicked his tongue in admiration. Mu King is truly a young genius. To condense and control the battle spirits of 5 armies at once, such a feat would be nearly impossible for other battle prodigies. Spirit Sword King and the others, originally tense, now broke into smiles, their hearts finally easing. As they gazed at the momentum of the 5 armies within the formation, they couldn't help but sigh. Despite being inside the formation themselves, they could still sense a significant difference between the battle spirits in Mu Chen's hands and those in theirs. Such an army truly could only be called a divine weapon in the hands of a battle genius. Outside the formation, as the various forces were struck with shock and awe, Mu Chen also sighed with relief. Thankfully, he had helped the Mountain Splitting Legion and others condense their battle spirits before, so there was some mutual understanding. Otherwise, it would have taken much more time to condense the battle spirits today, and by then, the battle spirits of the 9 Nether Guard and Blood Eagle Guard might have already collapsed. Fortunately, he made it in time. Mu Chen glanced at the battle spirits above the 5 armies. Aside from the Spirit Sword Servant's battle spirit, which was a giant figure wielding a sword, the Mountain Splitting Legion's battle spirit was a giant wielding an axe, exuding a mighty and domineering presence. The Hong Army's battle spirit took the form of a giant turtle, emanating a sense of stability and heaviness. These battle spirits must be the strongest of the Mountain Splitting Legion, Mu Chen observed. He could feel that the battle spirit of the Mountain Splitting Legion exuded the most intense battle will, and its body was inscribed with over 6,000 battle runes, far more powerful than the 4,000 or so of the 9 Nether Guard. Of course, this wasn't to say the Mountain Splitting Legion was inherently stronger than the 9 Nether Guard. They simply had the advantage of numbers, with over 10,000 soldiers, double the 9 Nether Guard's forces. After all, they're not directly under my command. The synergy and fusion are still too low. Mu Chen sighed. With only 5,000 soldiers from the 9 Nether Guard, he had already condensed a battle spirit with over 4,000 battle runes. Meanwhile, the Mountain Splitting Legion, with over 10,000 soldiers, had only about 2,000 more battle runes. Though somewhat regretful, Mu Chen knew that for now, he could only rely on this temporary alliance of 5 armies to face the Black Tortoise battle spirit. Moreover, now I'm directly controlling around 30,000 troops. I can vaguely feel it starting to get a little overwhelming. If I command any more, it might be too much to sustain, and my mental will could be shattered by that violent battle will. Mu Chen's eyes flickered as his thoughts raced. But how is it that those powerful battle array masters can control armies of millions, even tens of millions? How can one person's mental will control the will of so many people? There must be something I don't know about. Mu Chen's black eyes flashed with a sharp gleam. In this era, battle array masters were incredibly mysterious. Little information about them had ever been passed down, which was why the inheritance related to them in these death ruins was so precious. But it didn't matter. As long as he could break through, he would finally uncover the secret behind the battle array masters. And at that moment, he would break through this bottleneck and become a true battle array master. Mu Chen slowly clenched his hand into a fist, his gaze burning as he raised his head and locked eyes with the menacing black tortoise battle spirit ahead. I refuse to believe that with the 5 battle spirit guardians, I can't break through this formation. In the darkened space, violent battle intent surged like a raging tide. Occasionally, the impacts caused the very space to tremble. At this moment, the entire space was undeniably engulfed by battle intent. Mu Chen stood in midair, with the 5 massive battle spirit guardians lined up beneath him. They locked onto the black tortoise battle spirit in the dark ocean of battle intent ahead, their eyes full of aggression. The 6 battle spirits faced each other. In terms of sheer size, the black tortoise battle spirit had the absolute advantage, its scale nearly twice that of each of Mu Chen's battle spirit guardians. However, Mu Chen had the numerical advantage. With 5 against 1, the resulting fluctuations of battle intent were immensely powerful. At least, the black tortoise battle spirit seemed to be cautious, as the ferocious offensive it had shown earlier weakened somewhat. A brief stalemate had now appeared between the two sides. This standoff was exactly what Mu Chen had hoped for. His mind raced, and he ordered the 9 Nether Guard and Blood Eagle Guard soldiers, who had been injured in previous clashes, to take this opportunity to rest and stabilize their vital energy and blood, preparing to be in peak condition for a true confrontation with the Black Tortoise battle spirit. After the earlier exchanges, Mu Chen had a clear understanding of just how tricky the Black Tortoise battle spirit was. Even though he now commanded the battle spirits of 5 armies, he still wasn't completely confident that he could defeat the Black Tortoise battle spirit. But no matter what, he had to give it his all. While Mu Chen's thoughts raced, the Black Tortoise battle spirit did not allow this standoff to last. Although it lacked intelligence and was merely a remnant born from the lingering traces of the formation, it still had an unshakable mission: to annihilate any intruders of the formation. Roar! With a fierce roar, the Black Tortoise battle spirit's massive form trembled, countless battle runes shimmering with dazzling light across its body. The overwhelming battle intent transformed into a black light ring, expanding outward in circles from its body. At this moment, the Black Tortoise battle spirit looked like a living black tortoise beast. Boom! The Black Tortoise battle spirit stomped its massive foot, sending towering waves crashing up from the dark ocean of battle intent below. The waves surged, powerful enough to crush mountains, and they charged directly toward Mu Chen. Roar! Simultaneously, the 5 battle spirit guardians erupted in furious roars, 5 different colored battle intent blades sweeping forward like sharp blades, combining their forces to tear through the vast black waves of battle intent. In the instant the waves were torn apart, Mu Chen's eyes hardened. With a thought, the 5 battle spirit guardians surged forward, forming a half-surrounding position to trap the Black Tortoise battle spirit. Boom! The 9 Nether battle spirit and Blood Shadow battle spirit flapped their wings, their battle intent-formed wings slicing through the air like the sharpest arrow rain, sweeping across the Black Tortoise battle spirit. Meanwhile, the Lishan army and Spirit Sword Servant charged at the forefront, their massive swords and axes swinging down with immense force. The 5 battle spirit guardians had fully adopted an encirclement strategy. However, the Black Tortoise battle spirit showed no fear in the face of this assault. With a menacing snap of its turtle-like body, a vast shield of battle intent materialized around it like an impenetrable barrier. Bang! Bang! The attacks of the 5 battle spirit guardians struck the shield, only causing ripples to spread across it. The massive defense remained unbroken, showcasing its immense power. Roar! With the battle intent shield blocking the attacks, the Black Tortoise battle spirit opened its massive mouth, and within it surged violent battle intent. The Black Tortoise battle spirit's turtle head darted forward, moving with the speed and ferocity of a dragon emerging from its cave. It bit down fiercely on one of the Blood Eagle Guard's battle spirit's wings, ripping it off in a single, violent tug, tearing most of the wing apart. This was just a mere contact, but Mu Chen's side already felt the damage to the battle spirit, and as the battle spirit weakened, several warriors from the Blood Eagle Guard spat blood, their expressions faltering, clearly affected by the shockwave. Mu Chen's eyes flashed coldly at the sight. Boom. Suddenly, a massive axe and giant sword fell from the sky, striking the same point on the protective shield surrounding the Black Tortoise battle spirit. The powerful battle will exploded, shattering the shield apart. The 9 Nether Guard battle spirit let out a sharp scream, its wings cutting through space like blades, slicing through the shield with lightning speed and slashing into the Black Tortoise battle spirit's turtle head, leaving a long crack behind, with dark battle wool leaking from the fissure. Roar! The Black Tortoise battle spirit roared in fury. Its serpent-like tail transformed into a streak of dark light, shooting out with explosive force. The violent battle will it carried seemed to shatter the very fabric of space. Whoosh! A giant turtle-shaped light image surged forward, blocking the attack. The snake tail slammed into the turtle's shell, and a terrifying shockwave erupted, sending the giant turtle reeling back by 1,000 feet. This turtle-shaped light image was formed by the Hong Army's battle spirit, a group skilled in defense, with battle will as solid as a mountain. While their attacks weren't as sharp, their defensive prowess was unmatched by other battle spirits. Had the Black Tortoise battle spirit's attack been received by any other battle spirit, like the Blood Eagle Guards, it would have been severely wounded. But the Hong Army's battle spirit withstood the impact and only staggered back. As the giant turtle blocked the Black Tortoise battle spirit's offensive, the remaining 4 battle spirits once again charged forward in a frenzy. Wild torrents of battle will swept across, launching a vicious assault on the Black Tortoise battle spirit. However, the Black Tortoise battle spirit showed no sign of weakness, relentlessly retaliating with vicious counterattacks. The dark battle will it emitted caused space to ripple, and each of its counterattacks forced the 4 battle spirits to dodge in disarray. Without the Hong Army battle spirit's formidable defense, several battle spirits would likely have been torn apart by now. Even so, the siege was brutal. The 5 battle spirits, under the relentless barrage, were slowly being torn apart, cracks forming in their bodies with battle will seeping through the rifts. Outside the formation, all the various forces stared in awe at the brutal battle inside Mu Chen's formation, clearly shaken by the intensity of the fight. Though the 5 battle spirits' relentless attacks were continually absorbed by the Black Tortoise battle spirit, with each counterattack severely damaging one of the battle spirits, it was evident to all that under Mu Chen's command, the 5 spirits were working in perfect harmony. As their bodies cracked more and more, cracks were beginning to appear in the Black Tortoise battle spirit as well. No one expected that these 5, individually not particularly strong battle spirits, would display such overwhelming power when united under Mu Chen's control. Mu King's control is truly brilliant. The Black Tortoise battle spirit is clearly far stronger than any of the 5 armies' battle spirits. If faced alone, it would likely be torn apart in 3 exchanges. But Mu King, by leveraging the characteristics of the 5 battle spirits, is matching the Black Tortoise battle spirit blow for blow. It's truly impressive, commented the mountain-splitting king and others, watching the brutal combat within the Black Tortoise formation. Though they lacked the natural talent for battle will, they were still powerful experts with sharp insight. They could easily tell how difficult it was for Mu Chen to face the Black Tortoise battle spirit's superior battle spirit with 5 weaker spirits. However, the formation under Zhantai Lu Li seems to be stabilizing, 9 Nether suddenly said, her beautiful eyes focusing on another formation. Her face showed surprise, as within the White Tiger battle formation, the White Tiger battle spirit had begun to hold off the initial sharp attacks and was now gradually resisting the Liuli army's battle spirit. Slowly, Zhantai Lu Li appeared to be gaining the upper hand. Zhantai Lu Li is indeed a prodigy. The mountain-splitting king and the others also wore solemn expressions. They realized that while Mu Chen was still locked in a desperate battle with the Black Tortoise battle spirit, Zhantai Lu Li had already started to take the lead in suppressing the White Tiger battle spirit. If she found the right opening, she might very well be the first to defeat the White Tiger battle spirit, and at that point, she would be the first person to successfully break the formation. However, they had no other means of counteracting this. Zhantai Lu Li had clearly come prepared. Her 30,000-strong Liuli army was, in many ways, even more formidable than their 5 armies combined. After all, it was an army united by a single battle will, meaning it didn't need to be divided. Therefore, the only one capable of breaking the formation before Mu Chun seemed to be Zhantai Lu Li. As for Xiao Tian, even though he had mobilized all the forces of the Profound Heaven Division, he could still only defend himself under the overwhelming assault of the Azure Dragon battle spirit. He was in no position to counterattack, let alone break the formation. In the White Tiger battle formation, Zhantai Lu Li's beautiful eyes narrowed as she gazed at the ferocious White Tiger battle spirit. Slowly, her jade-like hand clenched into a fist, and she murmured, "It should be about time." She raised her hand gently, and then swung it down with force. A dazzling light shot up into the sky from the vast Liuli army behind her, accompanied by a surging battle will. Boom! Within the Black Tortoise battle formation, a dark battle intent swept across, smashing violently into the massive turtle-shaped battle spirit formed by the Hong army's battle will. The hardened turtle shell cracked open, and immediately, blood leaked from the mouths of hundreds of warriors from the Hong army. Boom! Massive axes, swords, and sharp winged light descended from the sky, crashing mercilessly into the Black Tortoise battle spirit's body. The overwhelming battle will sent it roaring backward. Yet, the Black Tortoise battle spirit was also incredibly fierce. Despite being forced back, it opened its massive mouth and roared out a wave of battle intent, knocking the 9 Nether Guard battle spirit flying backward. Cracks spread across its massive form. Mu Chen's figure, standing in midair, trembled slightly. His face was pale, sweat sliding down his cheeks. Although controlling the battle intent didn't drain his spiritual energy, it placed an immense strain on his mental will. He could already feel a sharp pain beginning to throb in his mind. This was a sign that his control over the battle intent was reaching its limit. "I can't delay any longer." Mu Chun gritted his teeth. At this moment, in the Force Spirit battle formation, whoever broke through first would obtain the inheritance of the Heavenly Formation Emperor. While he knew that Xiao Tian and the 3 commanders were unlikely to be the first to break the formation, Zhantai Lu Li was a serious threat. If he continued to delay, Zhantai Lu Li might seize the opportunity and break the formation first. If that happened, his efforts would be meaningless. He couldn't afford to wait any longer. However, the Black Tortoise battle spirit was like an insurmountable mountain in his path. Although the 5 battle spirit guardians worked well together, they still couldn't completely crush it. The battle spirit guardians were not part of the same entity. Their attacks could injure the Black Tortoise battle spirit, but they couldn't deal a truly fatal blow. In that case, Mu Chen's dark eyes flashed with determination, and he gritted his teeth. "Let's go all in." With that, Mu Chen no longer hesitated. He raised his hand sharply and shouted, his voice resounding in the ears of every soldier in the 5 armies, stirring them to action. "All armies, listen up. 5 spirits convergence." 5 spirits convergence. Mu Chen's command was like thunder, shaking every soldier's heart. Upon hearing it, even with their disciplined nature, some soldiers paused for a moment, hesitation flashing in their eyes. But this hesitation lasted only an instant before they gritted their teeth and suppressed it. As soldiers, years of training had taught them that as long as their commander was giving orders, they had to obey, even if they couldn't fully understand or accept the command at the moment. So, the soldiers of the 5 armies quickly suppressed their doubts. As their minds moved, the 5 battle spirit guardians simultaneously let out a long howl toward the sky. Then, they shot out in a burst of light, colliding high above. The 5 battle spirit guardians collided with each other. The moment of impact was accompanied by a thunderous roar that shook the heavens. Waves of battle intent, in different colors, surged and spread, forming a gigantic, radiant light ring. This light ring spanned thousands of feet, within which vastly different battle wills clashed against each other. Each collision was followed by a deafening explosion, causing the space to tremble. Outside the battle formation, the various forces watching were all astonished, their faces filled with disbelief. After a long pause, someone finally could not hold back and exclaimed, "Has Mu Chen gone mad? How dare he mix 5 completely different battle wills together?" The 9 Nether King, the Mountain-Splitting King, and the others exchanged looks, their faces pale with shock. It was clear they were just as surprised by Mu Chen's actions. Though they were not particularly gifted in battle intent, they were strong, powerful figures in their own right. As the saying goes, once you master one method, you can understand all methods. They understood how insane Mu Chen's actions were. He was planning to forcibly merge 5 completely different battle wills together. Attempting to mix forces of different attributes was an extremely dangerous undertaking. It was like trying to merge different types of spiritual energy. If forced together, the inevitable result would be an explosion of energy, and the one who initiated it would likely be shattered in the process. Although the 9 Nether King and the others did not know if battle intent worked in the same way, they understood that getting this right would be extremely difficult. Mu King has no fear, the Mountain-Splitting King muttered, his lips moving. He let out a bitter laugh. They knew very well that if Mu Chen could successfully merge the 5 battle wills, the resulting power would be far greater than if they remained separate. However, achieving that was easier said than done. It was incredibly dangerous. If Mu Chen were truly a battle formation master, he might have the ability to integrate different battle wills. But as it stood, he had not yet reached that level. So, his actions were truly reckless. No matter how nervous they felt watching from the outside, they could not influence Mu Chen, who was deep within the formation. At that moment, Mu Chen had his eyes tightly closed. Sweat poured down his forehead, and veins bulged as they throbbed beneath his skin. His face contorted in pain, clearly reflecting the immense difficulty of integrating 5 different battle wills. Still, Mu Chen knew that the only way to break the formation quickly was to merge the 5 battle wills and unleash his strongest offensive to utterly crush the Black Tortoise battle spirit. If he were drawn into a prolonged stalemate, Zhantai Luli might seize the opportunity to break through the formation first. She was well prepared with the entire Liuli army, and her battle intent far outstripped that of his 5 scattered armies. If things dragged on, she might be the first to break the formation, seizing the Heavenly Formation Emperor's inheritance. At that point, they would be left with nothing, scrambling for scraps. That was not a scenario Mu Chen wanted. So, no matter what, he had to risk everything. However, Mu Chen wasn't entirely confident, especially when he felt the immense resistance and repulsion as the 5 battle wills began to clash. There was little he could do about this rejection, so he resorted to the most primitive method. He used his own mental will to forcefully merge the 5 battle wills together. But this method was an immense strain on his mental energy. Imagine trying to control tens of thousands of wills, each one resisting the others. For a single person's mind, this would be an overwhelming burden. If someone else, even someone as powerful as the Mountain-Splitting King, were to try it, their mental will would likely be shattered in an instant. This method was only possible for Mu Chen because, as a spiritual array master, his mental will was already stronger than most. Additionally, the 5 battle wills did not resist him at all. If they had, even Mu Chen wouldn't have dared attempt it. Even so, his head throbbed with excruciating pain, as if it would explode. His veins bulged more rapidly, and the sight was almost terrifying. As Mu Chen's veins pulsed on his forehead, the light ring above him continued to flare with brilliant colors. As Mu Chen tried to consolidate the 5 battle spirits, the Black Tortoise battle spirit seemed to sense the threatening fluctuation emanating from the enormous light ring. It immediately let out a roar, its eerie, giant eyes locking onto Mu Chen. The moment its eyes shot toward him, Mu Chen felt a cold shiver run through his entire body. Without hesitation, the Black Tortoise battle spirit swung its massive serpent tail, sending a tremendous dark light that tore through the void, rapidly closing in on Mu Chen. Within the dark light, terrifying fluctuations spread out. Even a typical 6th grade Supreme would not dare to face its sharp edge. Yet, in this moment, Mu Chen had no battle will to protect him, and his power was still limited to that of a 4th grade Supreme. For him, such an attack was nothing short of fatal. The Black Tortoise battle spirit was clearly cunning, seizing the perfect moment to strike. right when Mu Chen was completely focused on consolidating the 5 battle spirits and unable to divert his attention to dodge. This scene caused an uproar outside the battle formation. The 9 Nether King and the Mountain Splitting King, among others, were all shocked by what they saw. Boom. The dark light shot forward too quickly for anyone to react, appearing directly in front of Mu Chen. The terrifying wave of energy caused his body to prickle with pain. In the next instant, he gritted his teeth and suddenly formed a hand seal. A powerful surge of spiritual energy erupted from Mu Chen's body, like a storm, and a massive shadow immediately appeared to shield him. Behind the shadow, a golden blazing sun hovered. It was the Great Sun indestructible body. In that critical moment, Mu Chen strained to summon his spiritual energy, calling forth the Great Sun indestructible body. Boom. The dark light howled as it struck without mercy, slamming into the Great Sun indestructible body. A brilliant explosion of light erupted. The seemingly powerful Great Sun indestructible body shattered instantly. The Great Sun indestructible body, which Mu Chen was so proud of, had only managed to hold out for a fraction of a moment. In that instant, as the Great Sun indestructible body exploded, a figure was sent flying back, but the shattered dark light split into another part, pursuing him relentlessly and, in the end, striking him in the chest with lightning speed. Uft! The dark light exploded on Mu Chen's chest, causing him to turn pale and spit out a mouthful of blood. His upper clothes were pulverized into dust, revealing a blood-soaked hole in his shoulder. Mu Chen was sent staggering backward for over 10,000 feet before he steadied himself. His face was as white as paper as he looked down at the gaping blood hole in his shoulder, filled with lingering fear. From the blood hole, a purple-gold dragon mark slowly emerged. It was the true dragon mark, but it appeared especially dull and weak at this moment. That was because it had helped Mu Chen withstand a powerful blow earlier. If it hadn't been for the mark, his entire shoulder would have shattered instead of just the blood hole. The Black Tortoise battle spirit had shattered Mu Chen's supreme Dharmakaya with just a single strike, nearly delivering a fatal blow. The power behind this attack was terrifying. Without the support of battle will, the difference between me and a 6th grade supreme is truly vast, Mu Chen muttered to himself. If the 5 battle spirit guardians were still protecting him, the Black Tortoise battle spirit wouldn't have been able to harm him. But without them, and with his current strength as a 4th grade supreme, it was nearly impossible for him to stand against such an attack. Roar! In the distance, the Black Tortoise battle spirit saw that Mu Chen hadn't been eradicated in one strike. It immediately let out another furious roar. In its savage maw, violent black battle will began to rapidly coalesce again. Outside the formation, Lu Yin and Feng Yi's faces grew pale. Without the protection of the 5 battle spirit guardians, Mu Chen had no hope of surviving the full-force assault of the Black Tortoise battle spirit. Boom! The Black Tortoise battle spirit's terrifying roar reverberated through the dark space as its immense battle will beam shot out with unstoppable force, tearing through the void and heading straight for Mu Chen. With his supreme Dharmakaya shattered and no time to reform it, Mu Chen seemed to be facing certain death in the face of such a destructive attack. All the surrounding forces watched, their expressions shifting. Was this where the collapse of Mu Chen's side in the battle formations would begin? Lu Yin, Feng Yi, and the others, however, exchanged glances with a flicker of satisfaction in their eyes. It seemed that this was the outcome they had hoped for. Boom, boom, boom. The dark battle will beam pierced through the air, but as the Black Tortoise battle spirit unleashed an even more terrifying assault, Mu Chen merely wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His black eyes burned with a chilling, murderous intent. A low growl suddenly erupted from Mu Chen's mouth. His hands rapidly formed seals, and as his technique shifted, countless powerful individuals outside the battle formation felt a sudden jolt. They raised their heads in unison, and within the dark space, above Mu Chen, a dazzling light ring stretched out for thousands of feet. A piercing, high-pitched screech rang out. A brilliant light pillar fell from the sky. The overwhelming battle intent contained within this light pillar caused countless strong individuals to gasp in shock. They could sense that within the pillar, 5 distinct battle intents were merging together. Mu Chen, in this final moment, had truly succeeded in combining the 5 battle intents. Boom! A massive shadowy light, filled with destructive energy, shot through the void faster than lightning. In the blink of an eye, it appeared before Mu Chen, and like a scythe of the Grim Reaper, it swung down fiercely, enveloping him. The shadow cast over Mu Chen's face, but his expression remained calm. He was not fazed by the impending destructive attack. His fingers came together, then lightly traced a downward motion. Fall. A soft voice seemed to emanate from his lips at that moment. SSSHHH. A sharp tearing sound suddenly rang out from the sky. Mu Chen slightly raised his head, and the dazzling light pillar reflected in his pupils, glowing brilliantly. The pillar fell from the vast light ring above, and despite its simplicity, it contained 5 different battle intents. This was the result of 5 armies' battle intent merging together. With his formidable mental will, Mu Chen had managed to forcibly combine the 5 battle intents into one. Although this fusion was not perfectly seamless, the power of the combined battle intent still far surpassed the strength of each one in isolation. Boom! Amid the countless shocked gazes, the brilliant light pillar crashed down, and just before the shadowy light of the battle intent struck Mu Chen, it fell from the sky and collided with the dark light. The instant of impact, blinding light erupted, sweeping across the heavens and the earth. With it came a visible shockwave of battle intent. PFFF. The shockwave hit Mu Chen as well. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body was sent flying, tumbling through the air. However, as he was sent flying, a relieved smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, and his 2 fingers gently beckoned. Boom! The dazzling light pillar shattered the massive shadowy light with devastating force, leaving a brilliant trail across the sky like a comet, before appearing above the black tortoise battle spirit. It paused for a moment, then descended, carrying a world-shattering shockwave with it. At the very same time that the black tortoise battle formation was undergoing earth-shattering changes, in the white tiger battle formation, Zhantai Lu Li, who had been simply defending with powerful battle intent, suddenly froze. She had sensed it. The white tiger battle spirit's attack had seemed to slow down. The sharpness that had previously been there seemed to weaken at this moment, finally showing signs of fatigue. Although the force spirit battle formation hasn't been worn down by time, it still isn't perfect. The power of this battle intent really can't match the boundless strength when in its prime. Zhantai Lu Li gave a soft smile, but her delicate face had now turned solemn. Then, her jade-like hand suddenly moved, forming a bizarre seal that seemed to contain many profound mysteries. Lioli Battle Seal. With Zhantai Lu Li's soft command, a huge figure that glowed like crystal appeared behind her, and it too formed the same strange seal as her. Hum. Fierce battle intent surged and gathered towards the Lioli Battle Spirit seal, and a brilliant light burst forth. Finally, a light seal nearly 1,000 feet in size appeared beneath the giant hand of the Lioli Spirit. This light seal was incredibly unique. Its surface was etched with countless runes that were unmistakably battle runes formed from battle intent. This light seal had been condensed entirely from battle intent. This method is clearly more sophisticated than the crude control of battle will that Mu Chen, Xiao Tian, and the others employ. Zhantai Lu Li, it seems, has a deeper understanding of the true application of battle will. Boom. However, Zhantai Lu Li paid no attention to the shock her actions had caused. Her cold, beautiful eyes locked onto the white tiger battle spirit, and then her jade hand swiftly struck through the air. The glazed battle spirit's massive hand also descended with a thundering crash. A glazed light seal shot through the void with a swish, appearing above the white tiger battle spirit in an instant, before mercilessly slamming down. Boom. Boom. Before the palm even landed, the space around the white tiger battle spirit had already begun to collapse. The white tiger battle spirit let out a frenzied roar, its fur standing on end like sharp spikes, and within its roar, there was a hint of fear. Bang! No matter how it roared, the strange light seal had already descended, crashing down heavily onto its massive body. Boom! Boom! The entire dark space shook violently. Outside the battle formations, all the forces stared in stunned disbelief at the sudden and dramatic changes in the white tiger and black tortoise battle formations. The White Tiger and Black Tortoise battle spirits, who had previously held the upper hand, were now both trapped in a perilous situation. Zhantai Lu Li and Mu Chen are incredible. They've forced such powerful battle spirits to this point. Zhantai Lu Li is clearly a step ahead when it comes to manipulating battle will. She likely surpasses Mu Chen in this regard. However, Mu Chen is also remarkable. He managed to combine 5 different battle wills into one, something Zhantai Lu Li might not even be able to do. This is getting interesting. But I wonder, who will break through the formation first? This must be their final move. If they fail, breaking the formation will be impossible. Various whispers spread outside the battle formations. The forces were shaken, clearly stunned by the displays from Mu Chen and Zhantai Lu Li. Nine Nether, king of the mountain splitting clan, and the others sighed in relief, then exchanged wry smiles. Mu Chen's ups and downs were so extreme. Any ordinary person would likely have had their heart fail from the tension. Lu Yin, however, stood with a dark expression, glaring at the massive battle formations. Mu Chen's miraculous reversal from death to life had infuriated him, especially when he saw that both Mu Chen and Zhantai Lu Li were showing signs of breaking through, while Xiao Tian was still being relentlessly suppressed, suffering casualties without end. His forehead veins throbbed in frustration. However, no matter how angry he was, he had no influence over the result inside the battle formations. All he could do was curse Mu Chen's counterattack, unable to defeat the Black Tortoise battle spirit. Under the watchful gazes of countless onlookers, the dazzling light within the Black Tortoise battle formation began to gradually fade, and the raging battle will that had been tearing apart the heavens and earth began to recede like a retreating tide. All gazes focused on it. As the light dissipated, the Black Tortoise battle spirit remained standing in the ocean of battle will, its massive form as solid as a boulder, unmoving. When Nine Nether and the others saw that the Black Tortoise battle spirit was still present, their hearts sank. But before they could feel despair, their eyes snapped wide in shock as they saw enormous cracks spreading across the Black Tortoise battle spirit's vast body. The surging battle will seeped out through the fissures. Crack. The cracks spread at an astonishing speed. In just a few breaths, they had engulfed the entire massive body of the Black Tortoise battle spirit. Boom. When the cracks reached their limit, the Black Tortoise battle spirit finally let out a desperate wail. Then, amidst the shocked gazes of many, its enormous body exploded with a thunderous roar. As the Black Tortoise battle spirit exploded, the ocean of battle will beneath it quickly faded away, leaving nothing behind. The entire dark space fell silent once more, as if the earth-shattering battle had never occurred. As the Black Tortoise battle spirit disappeared, Mu Chen's face grew pale, and then he coughed up a mouthful of blood. The vast light ring in the sky also dissipated, and the soldiers of the 5 armies appeared disheartened. The battle will surrounding them was barely half of what it was at full power. Clearly, though they had finally defeated the Black Tortoise battle spirit, the 5 armies had paid a heavy price. Mu Chen wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. With the strength of his dragon phoenix body, which was comparable to that of divine beasts, his internal injuries were quickly healing. He looked up at the spot where the Black Tortoise battle spirit had shattered. To his surprise, the dark space there twisted, eventually forming a black spatial gate. Inside the gate, darkness swirled ominously, causing a chill of dread. However, when Mu Chen's gaze landed on the black gate, a bright, piercing light shot from his eyes. He hesitated for just a moment before gritting his teeth. His figure transformed into a streak of light, shooting directly toward the dark gate. Though he didn't know what lay beyond that gate, he had worked hard to get here for the inheritance of the Heavenly Formation Emperor. Such an opportunity could not be missed. However, Mu Chen was cautious and did not bring the 5 armies with him. Instead, he quietly issued an order to communicate with the various kings outside and, if things went awry, to forcefully break the formation. From Mu Chen's perception, although they couldn't see the outside, it was likely that the 9 Nether and others could still see inside the formation. Just as Mu Chen was charging toward the black gate, a wave of exclamations erupted from outside the formation. Mu Chen actually broke through the formation. That gate must lead to the deepest part of the death ruins. That must be where the heavenly formation Emperor's inheritance is. Will Mu Chen take it? Wait, there's also a black gate in the White Tiger battle formation. Zhang Tai Lu Li and Mu Chen are both breaking the formation at the same time. Among the many exclamations, inside the White Tiger battle formation, the White Tiger battle spirit shattered as well, leaving behind a black gate. The moment the gate appeared, Zhang Tai Lu Li wasted no time and shot out, rushing into the black gate at the same instant as Mu Chen.